So the purpose of this recording is to go over the basic things that are on the syllabus. So here it is, the Math 112 Pre-Calculus syllabus for my course. And my name's Erin Harris, and my email is listed, my office is listed. Email is definitely the best way to get in touch with me. I check email multiple times a day. And so other basics that are on this course, we are required by college policy to list the course learning outcomes for every course. And basically, the short answer for what are we going to learn in this course, what are we going to do in this course, is I am getting you ready to take calculus. So that's something else that's important for me to say about this course, is you should not be taking pre-calculus unless your program here at Geneseo requires you to take calculus. We have two different calculus courses at Geneseo. One is applied calculus, Math 213, which is for business majors. All right, so if you're accounting, you're in the School of Business, you would take Math 213, applied calculus. So I will prepare you for that course. Or if you are in the sciences, you have to take Math 221, which is Calculus 1. And so I'm teaching a course geared to getting you ready for either of those two courses. So again, if you're not required to take one of those two courses, you shouldn't be in this class because it would give you an elective credit, but as far as checking off any boxes for the Common Core, you do have a section in Common Core which is reasoning, and pre-calc does not count towards that. Calculus 1 counts towards your reasoning Common Core, but not pre-calculus. So there's no reason, unless you were just interested in it, there's no reason to be in this class unless you have to take Calc 1. So other things that I want to look at here, I sent you an email previously about materials. I mostly make my own materials. So due to the fact that I'm not making you purchase a textbook, then I'm not going to feel guilty about taking a pretty good bite out of your printing budget. Because when I make my own handouts, I'm going to suggest that you print those handouts. But the textbook will be on the front page of Canvas and it's free. I don't use it a ton though. Like I said, I prefer my own materials. Whatever graphing calculator that you have from high school will be fine. If you don't have a graphing calculator, they are available for loan from the library. Also, desmos.com/calculator offers a free online version of a calculator that you could refer to. It's just that wouldn't be something that I could have you use on a test. So I suggest a few pieces of graph paper, a ruler, and, you know, in college, you can organize your notes however you choose. But I recommend for this class getting a 3-ring binder. Buy yourself a hole puncher, which is, you know, you can find them for under $10. And you're going to be doing some notes just on loose leaf paper. And then you're going to have all those printouts that go with the the lesson for that day in class. And so I suggest that you keep those all organized, you know, in order, right? So that the notes you wrote on loose leaf paper are right next to the handout from that same day. So that would make the most sense for organizing your materials for this course. And then keep a separate tab for homework. So we'll talk about that later in the syllabus. But you don't want to intermix your homework handouts and documents in with your class notes, because I do collect the homework for a small participation grade. So anyway, I am going to cover face-to-face instruction and office hours in a separate video. So let me move on and let's look at grading categories. So I'm going to be giving weekly quizzes, and then the collected work category is a participation component of your grade. So that's where if you just do what you're supposed to, you should earn all of the points in that section. Then I plan to administer a midterm exam. And if you have a passing average by the time we finish all of the quizzes, then you don't have to take the final exam. The only people who will need to take the final exam are people who are not passing and need to improve their grade by showing that in the end you did learn the necessary material. So as far as when these will be administered, so I have approximate dates listed in the next section. So the quizzes, those can be either online or in person. And I am going to, though, at one point give you a calculator off quiz, and I'll want everybody to be in person so that I can make sure you're not using your calculator. If you're unable to be in person, then I was going to have you set up a Zoom call with me and point your camera at your workspace so that I can see that you're completing the quiz without using a calculator. So the midterm, again, I'll want that to be in person or on camera. I plan to offer an evening option for that. So again, density and space requirements kind of affect, you know, how much I can do in class with too many of you at once. But I was going to, since it's a 2-hour exam, it works better to do something like 6 to 8 p.m. in the evening. And as I said, final exam is optional. And if you don't take the final, then that weights the categories proportionally to what I stated above. It's just you won't have that 25% in there for a final exam score. So grade scale is listed. So dates, I listed all of the quiz dates as Wednesdays. Quizzes are going to happen anywhere between Wednesday and Friday of that week. So that will depend a little bit on what cohort you're in, and if you want to take it online or in person, what your decisions are. So I listed them all as Wednesdays just to be consistent. So the quiz will always cover from the week before. All right, so I always give you a little bit of time between when I teach content and when I'm going to quiz you on it. Okay, so I will finish content, you know, I'll do Monday through Friday of content, and then the quiz on that Monday through Friday will be the following Wednesday. Okay, so nothing that I teach like a day or two before will be on the quiz. All right, so I always give you enough time to digest the new material, ask for help if you need help, things like that. So like I said, all dates are approximate, and I'm going to talk more about the collected work category in a separate video, but I'll say a little bit about it here. So this is where your points are earned totally based on participation. So on the day that you take the quiz, you will be turning in all homework assignments from the week before. And you'll get a 5 out of 5 just if they're complete. So I just flip through them, see if they're all there. I actually am posting answer keys of all of the homework assignments. So, I mean, you could always copy the answer keys and hand that in to me, and I would probably not know the difference. But I do that just to kind of increase accountability. Students have told me over the years that they wished I would you know, give them some credit for completing assignments. And so I decided to work that in this course. And then other things, before coronavirus, I used to once or twice a week give an assignment that would be done in groups in class, and that was a participation assignment, and that kind of helps students feel motivated and hold them accountable for coming to class. So obviously things are different now. We can't be doing group assignments in class, but I'm going to probably do these instead of once or twice a week. I'm actually going to do them more like 2 or 3 times a week, because it's hard to stay motivated, I think, in an online course. It's hard to have the motivation to sit and watch every single video in entirety when you're not actually physically in a room where, you know, I can see that you're doing what you're supposed to. So I give more of these with an online course. I give more of these what I call participation assignments. And so almost every lesson that's online probably will have a participation assignment that's linked to it. And they're quick. They're like a problem or two. And I don't grade them based on right or wrong. So even if you turn it in and your answer is wrong, I do say that they have to be reasonably well done. right? So you can't just draw a picture of a bunny on your paper and say, well, I completed this. So, you know, if I do reject it for quality, you know, if I think it just didn't show any effort whatsoever, then I will send it back to you and deny you the 5 out of 5 unless you can fix it up. So that, I think, summarizes pretty well. Now, when I'm talking about homework, make sure that you don't put your class notes or the class examples in with your homework. Sometimes I will give you very similar assignments, okay? So I will give you a paper that's labeled Rational Expressions Class Examples. And then I'll give you a different handout that says Rational Expressions Homework, okay? Make sure you're not mixing your class examples in with your homework. I got a lot of that last semester. Now, honestly, I didn't think it was an accident. I think for some students, they didn't do the homework and they were hoping if they just put the class example sheet in, I wouldn't notice that and I would still give them credit. So it was probably not an accident, most of the people who did that, but I felt like that came up quite often in the past. So keep your homework assignments separate from the handout of class examples, please. So I am going to do, again, a separate video on finding lessons and materials in Canvas. And that brings me to this flexibility request. So this summer, I spent a lot of time trying to brainstorm the logistics of how this is going to work. So obviously, this is brand new to me. I have never delivered a hybrid course before. I've never had to plan a situation where I'm bringing different cohorts of students into class at different times. So it was very difficult for me, and I think still is until we get started, to kind of envision how this is going to look and how this is going to work. So I'm just asking that you have patience. You know, I like to lay out as much as I can at the beginning of a course, but it's certainly possible that I might change a few things or tweak a few things. Now, as far as like what I'm going to be collecting and the dates and how your grade is determined, things like that won't change. But just as far as what I might do with, you know, who's coming to class when, I assume that that's going to change from week to week. What days I'll be bringing you into class, and I might just in the middle of the semester kind of say, oh, let's sort of try this, or let me pull back on this thing I'm doing because it seems like it's not working. So I'm just asking to, you know, please be patient and flexible with me, and what I commit to is just as much prompt and open communication and advance notice as possible. So I commit to giving you notice on when I would want you to come to class, so that it's not like the night before I email and say, hey, come to class tomorrow. So you will know ahead of time, but things like that might change throughout the semester, and I just ask for your patience. So if you are taking other courses, you might see the stuff about face masks. You might see the exact same statement on other professors' syllabi. Because I took this from the general college recommended statements to put on your syllabus. So we have been told as a college that we have to enforce the mask wearing and the 6 feet apart in our classroom. And so hopefully that won't be an issue with anyone. Other statements that I put on here as far as accessibility, if you have accommodations, make sure to give me your letter. And, you know, even with things like online tests and quizzes, things like that, I will still be able to accommodate for any disability that anyone might have and any documented need for accommodations. I decided this year, I don't usually put this on my syllabus, but I decided this year to put information about computer and technology support, since so much of what we're going to be doing is online. You know, I know this summer and last spring, I have really utilized the CIT department that we have here, and they have been absolutely wonderful, very knowledgeable people. So if you're having any trouble, you know, uploading things in the right format or just any sort of technical thing, we have campus resources. So please reach out for that help. We don't want technology to get in the way of your learning experience. So please check out the next couple videos that will have more specific information on some of the sections of the syllabus that I just skipped.